Hello, everybody. Welcome to the wrap-up session for the TPAS and PlayShapers Net Zero Week. John, who will introduce himself to you in a minute, and I are going to talk a little bit. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Matthew Walker. I'm the chair of PlayShapers and the chief exec of Leeds Federated Housing Association. John and I are going to spend a little bit of time briefly giving you some feedback on the sessions that we've had this week, reflecting on some of the key messages, some of the key principles coming out of the week, and maybe exploring what some of the next steps might be. So it will be brief. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for being here. So over to you first, John, to introduce yourself and give some key messages.
Yeah, well, thanks for that, Matthew. So I'm John Geeson. For anyone who doesn't know me, I'm chair of TPAS. I am also chair of a small specialist association in East London. So I've got sort of twin hats on in terms of my interest in what's going on. What a week. I mean, it's been an incredibly busy week. I think there's been 10 online sessions with over 400 people attending, and that number, I guess, is rising with the things that are online. Hopefully, if you've not been able to attend, you've been keeping up with the action on Twitter, and the hashtag is #NetZeroWeek, all lowercase. So if you haven't caught up with everything, there's still a chance to do so. All of the sessions we've had have been attended by tenants and staff, as well as other stakeholders from across the sector. And there's a long list to say thank you to for people who've been involved, not least, I think the Housing Ombudsman was involved in a session this morning, which I understand was really well attended and very, very informative and challenging. I think it's fair to say that we've discussed the politics at both a national and local level. And it was really good to have Matt Harrison from the Social Housing Decarbonisation Fund giving an update on their work, which was really good. And it's good to see that there have been opportunities for local collaboration, because I think this isn't something that organisations need to address on their own. There's a lot to be said for working together with others. I also think it's fair to say that a key point, for me at least, was the challenge of where the private sector and homeowners are in this discussion also, because whilst it's really important that we talk about things from the perspective of social landlords, really that the issue needs to be broadened to incorporate both the private sector and homeowners. And I think that needs to be recognised. We've heard about the work of the CIH, Orbit, and the Northern Housing Consortium, which is fantastic. And we'd ask anyone who has the chance to read the CIH Orbit report, but also to keep an eye open for the Citizens Jury from the National Northern Housing Consortium, which is coming out in November. I think Tuesday's session, the highlight there was some very honest and direct challenges from the leaders' session. And there's a lot of discussion about money and technology to deal with these issues. But I think one of the key messages to take away is that you don't forget the people. This is really about an agenda we've got to get right about how we engage with the people that are actually going to be affected by what we're doing as a sector, but also what the country is doing, and recognising that and listening to residents' voices has never been more important. I think also it's fair to say, it isn't a quick fix. We're talking about average costs, as I understand it, of about 20,000 per unit, but there are going to be some huge variations in that average, and there will be properties that are very difficult to retrofit, and some possibly even impossible. And I'm thinking of Georgian, Victorian, and Edwardian homes that will not be a cheap or quick fix. And some of that will be the most popular properties in our stock, but also some of the most popular properties in the country. Another session that I think was really well attended was the demystifying the technology. And I think there are a lot of questions that we need to do more on arising from that. So I think watch this space. And also a session on the challenges particularly facing local authorities. and how we can ensure that homes are healthy and involving young people more, because I think young people get what's going on for their future perhaps a lot better than people my age do as a rule. I think the showcase sessions were brilliant, and PlayShaper members, particularly Flagship, Eastlight, Broadacres and Raven, willing to share what they're doing already, is very, very helpful. And the videos of tenants and staff talking about experiences so far, really a highlight, because it has to be something that the sector does together with people, not to people. And the event at Trafford Hall, where lots of people went on Wednesday to take part in a roundtable session, was brilliant. And I think, you know, we need to listen to what people think matters most, matters most to them. So we aimed this week to raise awareness, and I think, you know, we've achieved that to a degree. But it's also important to say it's not the end. You know, we've got to start to explore all of the actions that we can take, and think of all the questions we still need to be asking ourselves, and to share those experiences. We've done that, as I've said, but I think there's an awful lot more to do. So on that note, I'll whistle stop tour through from me. I'll hand back to Matthew for his thoughts on what we've heard and where we as PlayShapers and TPAS go from here. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Just a few reflections from me, I suppose, on the week that we've had. I think it's clear that although we might not have all the answers, we do actually have to make a start on this agenda. Gail Teasdale made a really interesting point yesterday that all of this is going to cost a lot of money, but to do nothing is also going to cost a lot of money. So we might as well make a start. And I think there's an acknowledgement, isn't there, that this is a long-term agenda, and that as part of starting, we're going to need to trial things, to reflect on how they've worked, to learn quickly from those, share it so that others don't make the mistake that we may have made, and try again with whatever's next. Strikes me that there's a lot of agreement amongst people on this agenda that there needs to be a highly personalized approach to the solutions that we put in place. This is people's homes and their lives. Every home is different, people's lifestyles are different, and that's a huge challenge for us to address. One of the parts of that solution will be technology, which we will need to keep evolving and improving. And we as social housing landlords are going to have to talk to those companies to make sure that we're feeding back what works and what doesn't work for our customers and what we're learning about it. It's clear, isn't it, that everyone is concerned about climate change and we all want to play our part, but we have to recognize where different people are in their lives and actually recognize that saving money and being more comfortable in our homes may well be the biggest driver for lots of our customers to embrace the changes that we're all trying to achieve. This isn't just about whether we install air source heat pumps or ground source heat pumps. It's about the whole house, and we have to scale up our conversations fast about ventilation, about insulation, flooring, windows and doors, how people behave, and much, much more. In order to do that, we're going to need skilled people to roll out this agenda, and that's going to be quite challenging. We need investment in apprenticeships and training programs and jobs, and we need that fairly quickly. In the joint report that TPAS and PlayShapers did earlier this year, we picked up on trust, communications and motivation, and engagement. And those featured heavily in all the conversations this week. We heard again how important it is to build trust with our customers on the small things in order for them to have confidence and trust in us on those bigger things. We're going to need tenant champions. We're going to need resident liaison officers. And we're going to need show houses where we can touch and feel the technology that we're looking to build into our homes. We're going to have to be consistent and reliable and honest about the communications and messaging that we give across the sector. We need collaboration, and we need more joined up government policy. So what are the next steps for TPAS and PlayShapers as we take this agenda forward? Well, first of all, we're going to take time to discuss and digest all of the information that's come forward from this week's conference sessions. We're going to share then the key learning from the week with everybody who's been in attendance and across the sector, and we'll share the videos that have been provided, and as well look for more case studies and practical examples that we can put in videos and share them around the sector too. we're going to play our part in helping make sure that there's a lot more joined up collaboration and action across the sector, and we'll look to make progress in that. And we'll also commit, I think, to seriously thinking about how we can communicate better across the sector on all of these issues, and to offer to work with the technology companies to improve their products for our residents. And of course, we'll continue to campaign and press for residents' voices to be absolutely front and centre in this whole agenda, which has been a particular focus of TPAS and PlayShapers through this whole agenda. So I think it falls for me to say a few thank yous now. First of all, we'd like to say thank you to all the panelists and speakers. We really do appreciate you giving up your time and contributing your expertise to these events, and to our chairs and facilitators in making sure everyone had their say and the questions and what have you were dealt with in an appropriate manner. I'd like to say thank you too to the steering group, who worked hard in getting all of this program off the ground and getting the right agenda together to raise the issues and talk about the things that people were particularly interested in hearing about. And thanks to everybody who's tweeted or retweeted or liked all the social media. As John said, this has been about promoting this agenda, and all of that really helps. I'd like to say thank you too to the staff at PlayShapers and TPAS, who have worked tirelessly to make this happen. These events don't just happen, they take a lot of effort in making it all come together and run smoothly. But the biggest thanks go to you, the hundreds of you who've come along to the sessions. You've asked some brilliant questions. You've given all sorts of constructive challenge and shared a whole heap of insights and experiences which have made it a much richer experience for everybody involved. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this week. I hope you've enjoyed whichever of the sessions you've been a part of. Thank you for being with us today, and have a great weekend. Thanks for joining us. Bye for now.